Well, here's an interesting cruise topic for us today. 3 things I enjoyed about cruising during the pandemic that I don't think will be as fun going forward. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I am your host, Tony. Here with just, look, it's a little commentary video. I want to talk about what it's like cruising right now, post-pandemic. Now, some people, they don't like that term, post-pandemic. COVID is still here, I realize that, but we're moving to a place in our COVID life cycle that normalcy is starting to return, and we're starting to see some normalcy return in cruising. Less restrictions, more people allowed to cruise, and so if we can get past that intellectual speed bump where we're at in the pandemic, what I'm talking about is there was about a year after cruising restarted that was it was different than what the next year of the cruise restart is going to be. And I want to talk about 3 things that I think I'm going to miss from that 1-year period that I'm already seeing change as I go on cruise ships. Number one is the crowds. When cruising restarted, they started cruising at 20%, 30%, 50% of capacity, and well, that was awesome. It was awesome because there was less lines, there was less constraint of space on cruise ships. You would go on a mega cruise ship that only had 30 or 40% capacity, and you had all kinds of room to stretch out. You never had to look for a chair. You didn't really have to worry about reservations. It was beautiful. If you didn't want to interact with anybody, you weren't wall to wall with people. You could get on an elevator without 1,000 other people trying to push their way on. Those were the good old days of the cruise restart. That has changed as we see cruise ships now cruising at 80%, 90%, 100% capacity. Well, it's wall-to-wall people. A couple weeks ago, I was on the NCL Encore, and there's a couple times that I went into the atrium on a sea day where it was just wall-to-wall people. You could barely walk without touching somebody else. I didn't like it. It's just a sign of the times. It's good for the cruise industry. It's good for the cruise business. But I'm just saying from my personal standpoint, I don't like the crowds. And so while I'm excited for the cruise business, I'll continue to cheerlead that. I know we have to get back at full capacity. I don't like it as much because I'm now having to rub elbows with everybody. And it just takes longer to do everything, longer to get on, longer to get off. You got to wait for dinner. You got to, file in. You got to wait in line. Not as fun as the previous iteration of cruising for the last year. Number 2 in this thing that I like less is all the children on board. Now, look, I'm not anti-child. I think cruising's a great family vacation. But man, on the last couple cruises, there were 600 kids on the NCL Encore. There were 300 kids on the Princess. And it had been a while. It had been a while since I remembered what it was like to cruise with a lot of kids, especially older kids, preteens, teenagers. On the NCL Encore, I almost got knocked over by a pack of rampaging teenagers running full steam through the elevator banks, and I got out of the way. I guess a younger, more cynical Tony might have tried to trip a few of those teenagers, but man, there's nothing worse than a pack of teenagers almost running you over. I mean, there's probably other worse things, but yeah. I've forgotten about that because during the last year I hadn't seen it as much, but now the kids are back. The kids are back and they're going to take you out. So be on the lookout for packs of kids, feral teenagers. Actually, there's also the other group of teenagers, the laid back, we're just going to sit on the floor in weird places teenagers. I've seen that too. Like, why I can't go down the stairwell because there's a whole, gaggle of, brooding kids just sitting around bemoaning the fact they're stuck on a cruise ship. I've had that too. And then, of course, little kids are always there. They're always fun, especially when their parents don't watch them. I'm so glad your kid's sticking their hand in the food. That's back. How about that? That's exciting. That's less fun than it was. And then number 3, I'll tell you about number 3, but before I get there, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. I want to hear what you feel like has changed. Have you cruised during the last year? Have you cruised lately? What do you feel like's changed? Leave a comment below on that. Number 3 is the crew to passenger ratio. There was a very sweet time where almost on every cruise that I went to, the crew members outnumbered the passengers, and that really pushed the service level up. Crew members always busting tail, working hard to give us a great vacation, and when they outnumbered us, it really became apparent. Now as we push to greater capacities, we've heard about staffing shortages, and that's a twofold bummer because it really pushes these crew members to work harder, which they already work sufficiently hard for their money and, don't want the extra stress for them. And then it also adds some challenges from a service perspective for the consumer. Certainly on my last 2 cruises, I had really good service, but I saw less abundance of crew members where I had on previous cruises. Like on Virgin Voyages, I know we were definitely outnumbered, and you couldn't shake a stick, as they say, without hitting a crew member waiting to serve you. And I feel like that's probably an unrealistic thought process to think that that's always going to be the way that cruising is. But it's definitely a sign of the times that now that capacity is going back up, now that more people are cruising, that whole crew to passenger ratio will change, and it probably will impact the service level. So it's going to be interesting to see how cruise lines adjust to that. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the pyramids in Egypt, do you think that those were built by aliens? I have heard a lot of people talk about that, or conspiracy theorists or alien folks, people that love the alien talk. They point to the pyramids and they say that we feel like the geometry, the technical prowess of those pyramids lend to the idea that some higher power, some greater intelligence built the pyramids. And I would submit this. Do you really feel, if you believe this, do you really feel that, a higher evolved being figured out a way to travel across the universe or through galaxies in a spaceship to come to Earth, and the best thing that they did on Earth was stack rocks together into a triangle? If so, this makes me feel like maybe this was the adolescent group of aliens that came and they built blocks on planet Earth. I feel like if aliens traversed the universe and made their way to planet Earth, they would have dropped some cooler technology than Stonehenge or stacking rocks in a triangle. That's just my take on it. Now, look, I'm not evolved, so I don't know, and I would love to hear your opinion on that. Do you feel like aliens built the pyramids? And I feel like, honestly, if aliens did come to Earth, they would build a cruise ship that had blazing fast internet. That's what I think their contribution would be. What do you think? Leave a comment below. Thanks so much for checking out the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do us a solid. Hit the like button. And unfortunately, if you do not hit the like button, well, then the next cruise that you go on, it will be 1,000 kids, and they're all going to be roaming packs of teenagers. You don't want that. 10 mistakes that first-time cruisers make. Are you cruising for the first time? Are you cruising for the 100th time? Check out this video next. This is Tony for Lido, Loca, and until the next time, we'll see y'all. See y'all on the Lido. See you on the Lido. Bye.